I slung my duffel bag over one shoulder and grabbed my briefcase, heading down the gravel walkway to the front door of our house in Burlington, Vermont. I turned the key softly, hoping to sneak in and surprise everyone. The air inside hit me with that familiar whiff of jasmine candles, Lydia's evening ritual. Upstairs, some music was thumping, not her usual soft jazz but something with a heavy, modern bass line. I dropped my bags by the coat rack and called out for Lydia. No answer. The beat kept pulsing from above. I started up the staircase, my fingers brushing the polished oak railing. The master bedroom door was cracked open, a warm glow leaking into the hall. I nudged it wider, ready to holler that I was home, but then I caught Lydia's voice, and it wasn't aimed at me. "He's so damn predictable," she said. I stopped dead, one foot still hovering. Lydia was perched on our bed, her back to me, phone glued to her ear. She hadn't clocked me yet. Her laugh, light, almost playful, but with an edge that twisted my gut, filled the room. "A walking ATM," she said. "Jasper, sweetheart, just hang tight. Once the divorce is done, I'm free, and I'll have it all." Her words slammed into me like a sucker punch. My chest tightened, but I didn't flinch. Years of keeping my cool in boardrooms paid off. Instead of storming in or demanding what the hell was going on, I stayed rooted. I eased back into the hallway shadows. The closet door was slightly open, and through the gap, I caught Lydia's reflection in the mirror. She was grinning, twirling a lock of hair around her finger. "Yeah, I've been laying the groundwork," she said. "My lawyer says I'll get half of everything, including his company stock." Another laugh. "No, he's clueless. Too buried in his tech projects to see what's right under his nose." My pulse steadied, my mind sharpening like a blade. Most guys might have lost it, but I was cataloging every word she said. "The kids'll be fine. They hardly see him anyway. Always working. You're way more fun." That was a bold-faced lie. I always carved out time for the kids, homework, soccer games, you name it. Lydia was the one skipping their events, always with some flimsy excuse. "Next week, I'll hand him the papers. Then it's just a waiting game." I backed off silently, grabbed my bags, and slipped out without letting the door creak. In the car, I sat for a minute, piecing it together. The betrayal wasn't just the affair, it was the cold, calculated plan, the lies, the months of scheming. She wasn't just after my money, she wanted the kids too. I drove around Burlington's quiet streets for an hour, no destination, just thinking. When I got back, I'd play it cool. Kiss Lydia, hug the kids, act like nothing was wrong. Nobody would know I'd overheard a thing. An hour later, I strolled back in. "Honey, I'm home," I called out. Lydia appeared at the top of the stairs in a sharp new outfit, her smile as polished as ever. But now I saw it for what it was, hollow. "You're back early," she said, gliding down to meet me. "Meeting wrapped up quicker than I expected," I replied, letting her kiss me without so much as a twitch. My boy, Theo, came barreling down the hall, launching into my arms. "Miss me, champ?" I grinned. "Tons," he said. "Mom said we could get burgers tonight. Can we?" "You bet," I said, setting him down. Then my daughter, Ivy, showed up, quieter than Theo but still glad to see me. "Hey, Dad. How was the trip?" "Got a lot done," I said, pulling her into a hug. She was shooting up fast, soon she'd tower over Lydia. "How's that history project coming?" "Almost finished." "Can you check it out later?" she asked. "You know it," I said. At dinner, I kept up the act. Laughed when it felt right, asked about their day, all while noticing Lydia's sneaking glances at her phone every few minutes. I watched her, this stranger playing the role of my wife, and wondered how I'd missed the red flags. After the kids hit the sack, I holed up in my study. I flipped open my laptop but didn't dive into work. Instead, I started planning. If Lydia wanted to play dirty, I was ready, but not with some loud, messy fight. I typed out names, dates, accounts, assets, every detail of a piece of my strategy. This wasn't about coding anymore, it was about gearing up. No rage, no hurt, just pure focus. For the next week, I played the part. Went to work, came home, helped Theo with math and Ivy with her project, slept next to Lydia like everything was fine. Behind the scenes, I was moving chess pieces. Met with my lawyer, saying it was about revising my will. tracked our spending, shuffled some assets to safer spots. Then, on the 8th day, it happened. I was at the kitchen table in our Burlington home, sipping coffee, scrolling through news on my tablet. Ivy and Theo were upstairs, Ivy helping her brother with a school poster. The house was calm, just the faint hum of the fridge. Lydia walked in, dressed sharp in a linen blouse and sleek pants, makeup flawless even at this hour. She held a thick envelope. "We need to talk," she said, her voice steady but with a slight edge. I glanced up, face blank. She sat across from me, setting the envelope down with a deliberate tap. "This isn't working anymore, Henry." "What's not working?" I asked, taking a slow sip of coffee, watching her over the rim. "Us. This marriage." She pushed the envelope toward me. "Those are divorce papers. I've already spoken with a lawyer." I set my mug down, slow and deliberate, then opened the envelope. I skimmed the first page, keeping my expression cool as ice. My brain was already 3 steps ahead, reading her play. Sunday morning, kids home but occupied, smart move. She dressed up, probably expecting me to lose it, maybe cry. "How long have you been planning this?" I asked, voice flat. She blinked, caught off guard. "What? How long have you been working on this?" I repeated. She shifted in her chair. "Does it matter?" "It's done. We both know it." I nodded, slow and steady, then pulled out the pen she'd given me for our 10th anniversary. Without a word, I signed, initiated, and dated the papers, cool as ever. I slid the signed papers back across the table to Lydia. "Anything else you need?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She stared at me, her brow furrowing like she couldn't quite believe it. "That's it? No yelling, no pleading?" I leaned back in my chair, cradling my coffee mug. "You want out, you're out. Simple as that." A flicker of doubt crossed her face before that smug grin of hers crept back. "My lawyer will be in touch about the kids and the assets," she said, standing up. "Sure thing," I replied, getting up to grab my tablet and rinse my mug. "You're moving out tomorrow, yeah?" She hesitated, clutching the envelope. "Yeah. You want to break the news to the kids, or should we do it together?" "Together," I said, turning to the sink. The cold water hit my hands as I scrubbed the mug, grounding me while I heard her huff behind me, clearly rattled by how calm I was. Her heels clicked out of the kitchen, fading down the hall. I gripped the sink's edge, letting the sting of betrayal hit me for just a second before shoving it down. This was only the beginning. The real battle was coming. That evening, we gathered the kids in the living room of our home. Ivy was curled up in the recliner, legs tucked under, while Theo sprawled across the rug, both of them eyeing us like they knew something heavy was coming. Lydia spoke first. "Your dad and I have something important to tell you." Theo glanced up from the floor. "Are we getting a puppy?" I shook my head. "Not quite, buddy. Your mom and I are splitting up. She's moving out tomorrow." The room went quiet as a graveyard. Ivy's face turned to stone, her eyes darting between us. Theo's brow scrunched, confused. "Like a divorce?" he asked. "Yeah," Lydia said, her voice softening. "Sometimes grown-ups are better off apart." "Why?" Theo's voice cracked. "Did Dad mess up?" Lydia started to answer, but I jumped in. "Nobody messed up, kid. People just change, and your mom's looking for something else now." "That's okay." I caught a flash of annoyance in Lydia's eyes. She didn't like me spinning it that way. "Do we have to move?" Ivy asked, her tone flat as a board. "Nope," I said, meeting her gaze. "You're staying here with me. You'll see your mom sometimes, maybe stay with her now and then." "I don't want Mom to leave." Theo's face crumpled as he scrambled to Lydia, wrapping his arms around her. "Please stay." Lydia smoothed his hair, whispering something soft, and shot me a look like Theo's tears were my fault. Ivy stayed still, too calm for a kid her age. "I'm going to my room," she said, standing. "Ivy, hold on," Lydia started, but I cut her off. "Let her go. She needs space." After Theo settled down and shuffled to his room, it was just me and Lydia in the living room. "That went about as well as it could have," she said, adjusting her blouse. "They'll bounce back," I said, echoing her cold words from that phone call she didn't know I'd overheard. She didn't catch the jab. "I'll be here tomorrow around noon to grab my stuff. Movers are coming." I nodded. I'll be at work. Take what's yours. Lawyers will sort the rest. She headed for the stairs but paused. For what it's worth, I did love you once. I met her eyes. I know. She waited for more, but when I didn't bite, she disappeared upstairs. I stayed put, listening to the house. Theo's muffled sobs came from above. Ivy's door was shut tight. I closed my eyes for a moment, then went to check on my boy. The next day, I went to my office like it was any other day. Shut the door, ignored my phone, and buried myself in code. Numbers and patterns always made sense, unlike Lydia. When I got home that night, her closet was empty, her dresser cleared out, no perfume, no jewelry, no shoes. The kids' artwork and family photos still hung on the walls, remnants of the life I thought we had. Ivy was at her desk, surrounded by books, scribbling away. You holding up? I asked, leaning in the doorway. She didn't look up. I'm fine. Wanna talk? Not really. Her pencil stopped. Is she living with him? I froze. With who? Ivy met my eyes, sharp and direct. Jasper, the guy from the gym. The one she's always texting. A cold clarity hit me like a splash of ice water. You knew? I'm not stupid, she said, turning back to her homework. She's not exactly subtle. You deserve better, Dad. I crossed the room and rested a hand on her shoulder. She leaned into it just a bit, the only sign she wasn't as tough as she acted. We'll be okay, I promised. I know, she said, a small smile breaking through. You always have a plan. Later, after checking on Theo, he'd cried himself to sleep, I retreated to my study. I opened a fresh document and started typing. Jasper Reed, gym owner, mid-30s. Messing with Lydia. How long? Still fuzzy. It wasn't much, but it was a starting point. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's building something from scratch. 2 weeks later, we settled into a new rhythm. I drove the kids to school in the mornings, picked them up after, cooked dinner, helped with homework, and tucked Theo in at night. Lydia called every few days, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. On weekends, she'd swoop in, taking the kids to arcades, movies, or malls, dropping them off with bags of toys and clothes. Trying to buy their affection, I figured, but I kept my mouth shut. Meanwhile, I was working my own angle. I signed up at Jasper's gym in Augusta, paid for a full year up front. The place was sleek, glass walls, shiny machines, the works. Jasper was there most days, schmoozing with clients. I played it cool, blending in, showing up early when the place was near empty. I watched, waited. On the third day, I struck up a chat with the front desk girl. I signed in at the gym's front desk, flashing a grin. Nice setup you got here. The receptionist, a chatty young woman, smiled back. Been open about 5 years now. Jasper built it from the ground up. It's a big deal around here. Sounds like he's got it figured out, I said, keeping it light. She leaned in, dropping her voice. Between us, I think he had some help. His girlfriend pitched in some cash. She's loaded. I raised an eyebrow, playing dumb. Lucky guy. They've been together for a long time? Almost 3 years, she said. That hit me like a brick to the chest. 3 years. Ivy was 11 back then, Theo just 7. 3 years of Lydia living a double life. You know her? I asked, keeping my tone easy. Lydia? Oh yeah, she's in here all the time. Always looks like she stepped out of a magazine. I nodded, face blank as a wall. Good to know. Catch you later. I walked off, my brain spinning. 3 years wasn't just a fling, it was a whole secret world. Over the next week, I pieced together more of the puzzle. Got friendly with a talkative trainer, overheard locker room chatter, and dug through social media. Lydia's profiles were spotless, but Jasper? He wasn't so careful. Photos of them popped up, dinners in fancy restaurants, parties, even a trip to a beach in Italy while Lydia told me she was visiting family. Then the trainer dropped a bombshell. Before Jasper, Lydia was cozy with some tech investor. What was his name again? That sent me down a rabbit hole. Soon, I uncovered 2 other affairs, one with a jet-setting businessman, another with a local sculptor. Lydia had fed me lies about art gallery visits while she was off with them. I jotted it all down, names, dates, places. I wasn't ready to confront her yet. I needed more ammo, and I was building a rock-solid case. 3 weeks after signing the divorce papers, a new suspicion hit me like a lightning bolt in the middle of the night. The next morning, I called in sick to work. After dropping Ivy and Theo at school, I drove to a medical clinic across town. I need paternity tests, I told the receptionist, keeping my voice low. For 2 kids. She handed me forms without batting an eye. You'll need DNA from everyone involved. I nodded. Got their toothbrushes. That enough? That'll work, she said. What about the mother? Don't need her. Just the kids. Her expression softened. Results take about a week. Rush it, I said, sliding my credit card across the counter. Please. 5 days later, an email landed in my secure inbox. I sat in my home office, staring at the screen, knowing this could turn my world upside down. I opened it. The jargon was thick, but the bottom line was crystal clear, 0% chance I was the biological father of either Ivy or Theo. The room spun. 14 years of being their dad, 10 years of marriage, all built on lies. I paced, my mind racing. Were their real fathers some of Lydia's flings? Did it even matter? I stopped cold. Did this change how I felt about them? The bedtime stories, teaching Ivy to debug code, cheering Theo at baseball games? No. Hell no. They were my kids, blood or not. But Lydia, she'd robbed me of the truth, let me believe they were mine. That night, helping Theo with his fractions and listening to Ivy ramble about her school day, I studied their faces, searching for clues I might have missed. All I saw were the kids I loved. I wouldn't tell them. Not now, maybe never. This was my weight to carry. But Lydia? She'd know I knew, and she'd answer for every damn lie. I tucked the paternity results into an envelope and stashed it in my briefcase. Game on, I muttered to the empty room. The restaurant was over the top, dripping with wealth, crisp white tablecloths, glittering chandeliers, everything too shiny, too staged. Like the fake smiles and hollow laughs inside. I stood at the bar, eyes fixed on Lydia and Jasper in the corner. Her laugh echoed, but it was empty. Jasper's hand rested on hers, staking his claim. She wore a sleek dress that screamed money, and he had his arm around her like she was his prize. The perfect little couple, playing their part. I adjusted my tie, gripping the envelope in my hand. This wasn't just any envelope, it was my ace, honed for months, ready to strike. I crossed the plush carpet toward their table, steps slow and steady. Lydia saw me first, her face going pale, her laugh dying in her throat. Jasper's eyes narrowed, his smug grin shifting to a flicker of irritation. I stopped in front of them, cool as ice. I locked eyes with Lydia. Hey, Lydia, I said, my voice low, polite, but sharp enough to cut. She straightened, forcing a smile. Henry, what a surprise. No surprise, I said, shifting my gaze to Jasper. So, you're Jasper. Heard a lot about you. His grip tightened on Lydia's wrist, his jaw clenching. He leaned forward, voice slick with fake charm. Look, man, I know this is awkward, I raised a hand, cutting him off. Not awkward at all. In fact, I'm here to congratulate you too. Lydia blinked, thrown. Congratulate us, she asked, wary. On your freedom, I said, my smile thin as a blade. I set the envelope down between them with a soft thud, deliberate and heavy. A little present to celebrate. Lydia glanced at Jasper, then back at me, her lips twitching between a smirk and unease. That's civilized of you. Closure, I said, stepping back. I'm big on it. I gave them one last look, then turned and walked away, my steps even, unhurried. As I headed toward the coat check, I could feel the knot in my back tightening, but every step was steady, like I was playing a part in a play I'd rehearsed. I paused just out of their sight line and glanced back, watching the scene unravel. Lydia opened the envelope slow, like she was handling a live wire. Then I saw it, the moment it clicked. Her hand shook, her face went ghost white, and she shoved the papers at Jasper. He scanned them quick, his jaw tightening. The restaurant's hum faded, curious eyes turning their way. Jasper's face twisted, fury burning in his eyes as he shot up from his chair. You swore they were his, he growled, his voice cutting through the quiet like a blade. Lydia flinched, looking like she'd been slapped. I thought they were, she stammered, grasping for something to hold on to, but it was too late. I stepped closer, my shadow heavy enough to make them notice. My voice came out low, sharp as a razor. No, Lydia. You knew. Or at least you had a hunch. You played your game, and now it's catching up. I let the words hang, thick with edge. Truth's got a way of coming out. Lies don't run forever. Everything you thought you had? It's slipping away. The whole place went dead silent. Waiters froze, unsure whether to step in or back off. Lydia clutched the papers to her chest like a shield, hissing, "You can't prove a damn thing. These could be faked." I didn't blink. "Lab's legit," I said, my smile cold enough to freeze water. "Verify them if you want, but deep down, you know it's true." I leaned in closer, tasting the panic in the air. "Funny how the timing lines up, huh? That tech investor you were cozy with when Ivy was conceived, and that sculptor around Theo's time." Jasper's face contorted, betrayal written all over it. He glared at Lydia, fist balled tight. "You told me I was the only one," he roared. "Said it was just me before this loser." He jerked a thumb at me. "Shut up, Jasper," Lydia muttered, but the damage was done. Jasper was on his feet, rage boiling over. He slammed his napkin onto the table with a crack. "We're through," he spat, the words exploding out of him. "Don't even try calling." I tilted my head, savoring the chaos. "The divorce settlement is gonna be a hell of a show, isn't it?" I said, my voice smooth as silk but sharp underneath. Jasper shot me a look that could have melted steel, then stormed off without another word. I turned to Lydia, watching her face crumple into a mess of regret and fear. "Good luck sorting this out," I said, my tone dripping with fake sweetness. I walked out, her desperate voice fading behind me. Outside, cool night air hit me like a reset button. For the first time since I caught Lydia's betrayal, I felt a spark of satisfaction. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from my lawyer. "All filed. Court date next week." I typed back quick, "Keep the plan rolling." I headed to my car, the city lights smearing around me. Phase 1 was done. Time for Phase 2. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table in our home with Ivy and Theo. Their plates were barely touched. I'd made their favorites, waffles with strawberries for Theo, scrambled eggs with toast for Ivy. But the air was heavy. "Your mom call?" I asked after a long quiet stretch. "She's not taking you this weekend." Theo poked at his waffles. "Is she okay?" "She's just dealing with some things," I said. Ivy gave me a sharp look. "What did you do, Dad?" I met her eyes, steady. "Why do you think I did something?" "Because Mom's been weirder than usual," she said, setting her fork down. "And you're all calm and collected, like when you're tackling a big problem." "So, what went down?" I weighed my words. "Your mom and I are handling the divorce our way. Mine's just a bit more calculated than she expected." "So you're getting revenge?" Ivy asked, her voice flat. "Not revenge," I said. "Just making sure things are fair." Theo piped up. "Is this about Jasper?" Ivy and I both turned to him. "You know about Jasper?" I asked, caught off guard. He shrugged. "Mom's always talking to him on the phone. One time we got smoothies with him. He's got a dragon tattoo." I swallowed my anger, keeping my voice even. "Yeah, it's about Jasper and some other stuff between me and your mom. But I don't want you two stressing over adult problems." Ivy rolled her eyes. "We're not little kids, Dad." "I know," I said. "But this is between me and her. Now finish eating. Bus comes in 20. Back in my home office, the faint buzz of morning traffic slipped through the window. I was reviewing some files when my phone lit up. Lydia's name flashed on the screen. I let out a quiet scoff and ignored it, letting it roll to voicemail. Lydia could deal with her own mess. When my phone pinged with a voicemail, I tapped the screen and held it to my ear, leaning back in my office chair, already bracing for what was coming. Her voice came through, sharp and bitter. "You think you're so damn smart, Henry?" Lydia snarled, her words practically spitting fire. "Jasper won't even talk to me now. Is that your game? To wreck everything?" She paused, catching her breath, but the venom didn't let up. "Call me back. We need to talk." I lowered the phone, shaking my head, and deleted the message with a quick swipe. I didn't need to hear her sob story. She'd dug this hole herself, now she could sit in it. My lawyer had been crystal clear, keep drama low, contact minimal. That was my plan, and I was sticking to it. But as the evening settled into its usual quiet, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I was beat, but something nagged at me to answer. Against my gut, I picked up. Yeah? I said, skipping the niceties. This is Jasper Reed, a tense voice said. We gotta talk. I stood, shutting my office door to keep things private. I'm all ears. Look, I don't know what kind of game you and Lydia are playing, but I'm done, Jasper said. Are the kids mine? I let the silence stretch, picking my words. No clue. Tests say they're not mine. You want answers, get your own tests. A long pause, then a heavy sigh. What a damn mess. You sound shocked, I said, a dry laugh creeping into my voice. Didn't expect this? I didn't know about the other guy, Jasper said, defensive but worn out. Or that the kids might not be yours. Lydia told me you two were already checked out emotionally, whatever that means. I stayed quiet, letting him ramble, relishing the control. I'm out, Jasper said finally, his voice tight. Whatever you two got going, I'm not part of it. Got my own problems. Like what? I asked, eyebrow raised, sensing where this was headed. Financial audit at the gym, some questions about investors. Nothing huge, but I don't need more headaches, he said, stress leaking through. I smirked to myself, my anonymous tip had landed. Hope it pans out for you, I said. Yeah, Jasper muttered, clearly frustrated. Just letting you know I'm not your enemy here. I'm done. I narrowed my eyes. Noted. The call dropped, and I leaned back. Jasper was bailing on Lydia faster than I'd figured, which was perfect. Without him in her corner, she'd be wide open. Time for the next move. The next day, I sat across from my lawyer, Leonard Brooks, in his Madison, Wisconsin, office, rain streaking the windows. Everything's on track, Leonard said, sliding a folder my way. Judge Larson's tough but sticks to contracts. The paternity fraud bolsters our case. I flipped through the papers. Financials locked down? Airtight, he said. The prenup's infidelity clauses are ironclad, and she signed the divorce agreement without a proper look. She's got no claim to your assets. We could even counter-sue for damages. I looked up. I'm not out to ruin her. Just want to make sure she doesn't cash in on her lies. Leonard nodded. Still going easy, huh? Fair enough. Her lawyer's pushing for a meeting to renegotiate. Let him try, I said. 2 days later, I was in Leonard's conference room, facing Lydia and her lawyer, Patricia Holt. Lydia looked rough, stress etched into her face. This agreement's unfair, Patricia said, tapping the divorce papers. My client signed under pressure without proper advice. Leonard raised an eyebrow. She had 2 weeks to review and consult a lawyer. She knew what she was signing. She was emotionally fragile, Patricia countered. I cut in, calm as ever. Fragile? She was planning this for months. Phone records show calls to divorce attorneys going back nearly a year. Not exactly caught off guard. Lydia's eyes widened. You checked my phone? I checked everything, I said, holding her gaze. The affairs, the scheming, the lies, it's all documented. Patricia touched Lydia's arm. Let's focus, Ms. Bennett. Mr. Carter, be reasonable. You're leaving my client with nothing. Not nothing, I said, leaning forward. She keeps what she brought to the marriage, plus her personal assets. With her spending habits, that's plenty. The kids aren't biologically mine, but I'm still offering full support and want primary custody. That's more than fair. Lydia's composure cracked. You can't do this, Henry. The house, the car, my life, you can't just take it all. I'm not taking anything, I said, voice steady. I'm just not handing over what's mine. You rolled the dice, Lydia. You lost. This is payback, she snapped. No, I said, cold and clear. This is what happens when you lie. The meeting ended with no deal, but I knew I had the upper hand. Court was a week away. That weekend, while Ivy and Thea were at a sleepover with friends, I changed the house locks. I also called the banks, credit card companies, and investment firms, limiting Lydia's access to joint accounts to the bare minimum allowed under the divorce filing. By Monday morning, everything was locked down tight. My phone started buzzing at 9 a.m. Lydia's name lit up the screen. I didn't pick up. Her voicemail came through, frantic and sharp. "You froze the accounts, Henry. How am I supposed to live? The hotel's demanding payment." I let it go to voicemail and deleted it without a second thought. Another call came an hour later, same deal. "The cards are dead. Did you cancel them? You can't do this." Ignored that one too. By Wednesday afternoon, her tone shifted, softer, almost pleading. "Henry, please, let's be adults about this. Can we talk?" I didn't call back. Court was tomorrow, and I wasn't wasting energy on her drama. Thursday morning, I walked into the Boise, Idaho, courthouse with my lawyer, Leonard, the gray sky heavy overhead. Lydia and her lawyer, Patricia, were already there. Lydia looked worn, thinner, hair pulled back tight in a dark suit, like she'd been through hell. Judge Larson, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, called the room to order. Leonard laid it all out, Lydia's affairs, the paternity fraud, the divorce papers she'd signed. Patricia tried to spin Lydia as a victim, but our evidence was bulletproof. Judge Larson's voice was firm. "Ms. Bennett, did you read the divorce agreement before signing?" Lydia hesitated. I glanced at it. I was upset. "Did Mr. Carter block you from getting legal advice?" "No," Lydia admitted. "But did you understand the terms?" "Sort of, but I didn't realize," the judge cut her off. "Ms. Bennett, this court doesn't fix bad choices. The agreement is binding, the infidelity clauses hold, and the paternity fraud is troubling." Lydia's face went pale. The judge continued, "This court upholds the divorce terms. Ms. Bennett keeps her personal assets. Mr. Carter retains all other marital property, including the family home. Child support will be addressed after further paternity testing, if Ms. Bennett pursues it." The gavel dropped. Lydia sat frozen, Patricia whispering in her ear. I felt no thrill, just a cold sense of finality. Outside, Lydia grabbed my arm, her voice a tear-soaked hiss. "You've destroyed me, Henry. I've got nothing." I pulled her hand off. "You've got what you started with, your freedom. Where am I supposed to go? What about the kids?" I shrugged. "Try Jasper." "Oh, wait, he's got his own problems." Her eyes widened, realization hitting. "You caused that audit, didn't you?" I gave her a thin smile. "Have a good one, Lydia." I walked off, leaving her standing there. My phone rang as I reached my car. Jasper's name flashed on the screen. I answered without hesitation. "Jasper," I said, voice like ice. His growl came through, thick with rage. "You tipped off the financial board, you bastard." "What the hell?" I kept my tone flat. "No idea what you're talking about." "They froze my accounts," he roared. "I can't touch my own money." I leaned back, a smirk creeping up. "Rough day, huh? Almost as bad as finding out the kids aren't yours." Silence hung heavy, and I could almost feel his blood boiling through the phone. Finally, he spoke, voice tight. "She's crashing at my place, you know that?" "Figured," I said, bored. "I can't keep covering her with this audit screwing me over," he snapped. "She's gotta go. I'm done with this mess." I paused, letting it sink in. "Your problem, not mine." "Just thought you should know," Jasper muttered, his arrogance still there before he hung up. I sat in my quiet Boise living room, everything falling into place. Lydia was crumbling, Jasper was out, but it didn't feel like a victory. I poured whiskey and stared at the rain-soaked city skyline. Tomorrow, I'd pick up Ivy and Theo. Life would keep moving. The next evening, I knocked on Ivy's bedroom door. "Got a sec?" I asked. She nodded, setting her book down. "What's up?" I sat on the edge of her bed. "I need to talk about your mom." Ivy's face closed off. "What about her?" "She's struggling after court. Financial stuff." Ivy didn't look up. "I'm not dumb, Dad. I can use Google." I chuckled. "You're too sharp for your own good." "Yeah, I kept what was mine." She gave me a hard stare. "So I'm supposed to feel bad for her?" "No," I said. "Just want to know how you're holding up." She picked at her blanket. She called, crying. Said she might have to leave town to start over. Asked if I'd go with her. My heart skipped. What did you say? I told her no. Ivy's eyes were steel. She lied to you, to us. She doesn't get to have us. I took her hand. She's still your mom, Ivy. A mom doesn't do what she did, she said, pulling away. She called me ungrateful, said I should take her side. But you're the one who's always been there. My chest warmed, even through the ache. Love's not something you earn, kid. It's just there. You can be mad, but, no buts, Ivy cut in. I'm staying with you. She grabbed her book. I'm done talking. I nodded. Dinner's in a bit. Theo was tougher. At 10, he felt everything deeper. I found him in the den, lost in a video game. Hey, buddy, pause it for a minute, I said. He groaned but hit pause. What? Your mom might stop by tomorrow to talk. His face lit up, then dropped. Is she taking us this weekend? Not this time. She's got some stuff going on. Because you took her money? I blinked. Who told you that? Mom texted. Said you're being mean and won't let her have money for a place. I sat next to him. It's not like that. Your mom and I had an agreement, and the judge said we follow it. So she's poor now? Not poor, just not living big like before. Theo looked at me. Is it because of her boyfriend? It's complicated. He crossed his arms. Grown-ups always say that when they don't want to explain. I smiled. You're not wrong. Your mom made choices that hurt us. Now she's got less. But she'll be okay. Can I still see her? Of course. She's your mom. Do you still love her? I froze. Did I? Anger, betrayal, those I had in spades. But love? That died when I heard her scheming to take everything, including the kids I raised as mine. I care about her because she's your mom, I said to Theo, choosing my words carefully. But sometimes grown-ups fall out of love. Doesn't mean we stop giving a damn. Theo seemed to buy it. Can I play my game now? 5 more minutes, then hit the books, okay? Deal. I'm glad I'm staying with you, Dad. I ruffled his hair, my throat tightening. Me too, buddy. The next morning, the doorbell rang early. I opened it to find Lydia standing there, looking different, no makeup, just jeans and a sweater, hair pulled back loose. Lydia, I said, keeping my voice flat. Kids are still asleep. I'm not here for them. Not yet. She shifted, nervous. Can I come in? I stepped aside. Sure. She walked into our Burlington, Vermont, home, glancing around. Place looks the same. Kids need things steady, I said. We headed to the kitchen. Coffee? No, thanks. She sat at the counter, hands clasped tight. I need to talk about the kids. I leaned against the counter. Go on. Jasper kicked me out, she said fast. I've got nowhere to go. Cards are maxed, savings gone. I can't even get an apartment. I took a slow sip of coffee. What do you want from me? Alone. Just till I'm back on my feet. Her eyes were desperate. For the kids. Court was clear on the money, I said. Screw the court, she snapped, then softened, glancing toward the stairs. This is about family, not legal crap. The family you ditched for Jasper and the others before him? She flinched. I messed up, okay? But I'm still their mom. I set my mug down. You are. I'll cover a basic apartment for 6 months, not for you, but so the kids have a place when they visit. Relief washed over her face. Thank you, Henry. With rules, I added. Lease is in my name. You get a job, any job, to cover food and bills. Stick to the visitation schedule. Her relief dimmed. You don't trust me, do you? Would you, if you were me? She looked away. No, probably not. She stood. Can I see them now? They'll be up soon. Wait in the living room. She paused. I'm sorry, Henry. Not just for getting caught, for all of it. I didn't answer. Her words were hollow next to her betrayal. Ivy came downstairs first, and when she saw Lydia, her face turned to stone. "What are you doing here?" she asked, voice like ice. Lydia stepped forward, arms out. "Sweetie, I've missed you." Ivy backed up. "Really? Couldn't even call all week." "I've been dealing with stuff," Lydia said. "Dad says you're broke because you lied and cheated," Ivy shot back. Lydia glared at me. "It's not that simple." "It is," Ivy said. "You had affairs, lied, wanted Dad's money. Now you're stuck. Pretty straightforward." "Ivy, please," Lydia said. "I'm your mom." "Are you?" "Moms don't do what you did." Ivy crossed her arms. "I'm not going with you this weekend or ever." Lydia paled. "You don't mean that." "I do," Ivy said. "Dad didn't turn me against you. I heard you on the phone with Jasper, laughing, calling Dad a walking ATM. Lydia froze, speechless. "I hate you," Ivy whispered, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "I don't want to see you." She bolted upstairs, her door slamming. Lydia stood there, tears streaming down her face. I spoke quietly. "She's hurt. She'll come around." Lydia wiped her eyes. "Will she, or will you make sure she doesn't?" "I've never badmouthed you to them, and I won't," I said. "Your actions did the talking." She turned to leave. "Tell Theo I stopped by. I'll call about the apartment." I nodded. "Realtor will reach out." At the door, she paused. "You ruined me, Henry. Happy now?" I met her eyes. "This isn't about being happy. It's about what happens when you betray people." "What, for wanting more than being a coder's wife?" "For lying, for using me for 15 years, for screwing around while letting me think those kids were mine." I opened the door wider. "Goodbye, Lydia." She walked out, shoulders slumped against the morning chill. The custody hearing was quick. With the paternity tests and Lydia's situation, the judge gave me primary custody, Lydia getting weekend visits. Ivy flat out refused to see her. Outside the courthouse, I saw Lydia by the steps, looking small and broken. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered her scheming to take everything. "Let's go home," I said to Ivy and Theo. 6 months later, I was cooking dinner in our Burlington kitchen while Ivy set the table and Theo fed our new puppy. "Can Scout have some chicken?" Theo asked. "Just a little," I said, handing him a small piece. "Don't make it a habit." The doorbell rang, cutting through the kitchen's calm. I didn't look up, focused on stirring the sauce. "I got it," Ivy said, setting a plate down with a soft clink. I half listened to the muffled voices at the door, but then Ivy's tone turned sharp, tense. "What the hell are you doing here?" Lydia's voice came next, strained. "I need to see your dad, please." I turned off the stove, not in the mood for this. "Theo, take Scout upstairs." He nodded and scooted off. I headed to the entryway, a flicker of curiosity sparking. When I saw Lydia, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to her head, it hit me. "It's pouring," she muttered, voice weak. I raised an eyebrow. "You're drenched." "Walked from the bus stop." "You serious?" I said, sharper than I meant. "No umbrella? Just decided to stroll through a damn storm?" She didn't answer right away, her eyes darting around, searching for something. "No," she said finally. "But the cafe I was working at shut down. I lost my job." My jaw clenched, irritation bubbling up. "What's the deal here, Lydia?" She wiped a tear from her cheek, her laugh bitter enough to make me wince. "I've been applying everywhere. You think anyone's jumping to hire a woman with 15 years of nothing but laundry and dishes on her resume?" Her words hung heavy, impossible to brush off. "The lease is up next week," she went on, her voice softer, cracking. "I can't afford to renew it. Please, Henry, let me see the kids." I didn't budge, didn't blink. "There's a visitation schedule. You know it." Her voice broke. "Not anymore. Ivy won't even talk to me. Theo's barely in my life now. I'm losing them." For a moment, I stayed quiet, letting the silence stretch like a taut wire. Then I crossed my arms, my tone cold as steel. "What do you want me to do? Throw you a pity party?" Her face crumpled, tears pooling in her eyes. "I screwed up, okay? I'm just asking for one chance to make it right." Can't you give me that? I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck, my voice icy. You made your choices, Lydia. Now you live with them. She stepped closer, desperation pushing her. I can't do this alone, Henry. Not with nothing. My face tightened, my gaze sharp. This isn't a handout. I've done my part. You think I owe you forgiveness? I don't. She flinched like I'd slapped her, but she held her ground, her voice barely a whisper. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching me fall apart. My eyes narrowed. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just done bailing you out. You think I'm your fix? I'm not your damn savior, Lydia. The room went still. I moved toward the door, not looking at her. Dinner's waiting. Kids are hungry. We're done here. She stood frozen, face pale, eyes hollow. I've got nowhere to go. No job, no money. What am I supposed to do? My voice turned hard. Figure it out. Call Jasper or one of your other guys. I'm not your answer. She winced, my words cutting deep. You're right. I deserve that. But please, help me. I studied her, my gaze unreadable. After a long pause, I said, 1 more month in the apartment. Then you're on your own. Relief flooded her face, her shoulders sagging. Thank you, she breathed. I didn't soften. Don't thank me. Use the time. I opened the door, turning my back. Goodbye, Lydia. She lingered a moment, then walked into the rain. I shut the door and went back to my family. That night, after Ivy and Theo were in bed, I sat in my office, staring out at rain-soaked streets. Lydia's visit had rattled me more than I'd admit, not from guilt, but because seeing her bed didn't feel like a win. Revenge had worked, but it left me hollow. My phone buzzed with a text from Cassandra Miles, a journalist I'd met at a tech summit. Still good for coffee tomorrow? I smiled, typing back, looking forward to it. I set the phone down, my mind shifting forward. Lydia wasn't my problem anymore. She'd made her bed, now she'd sleep in it. Dad, where's my green notebook? Ivy called from upstairs. Check the living room shelf. You were studying there last night. A pause, then, got it. Thanks. 8 months had passed since Lydia's soaked visit. 8 months of settling into a new rhythm, healing. The house felt lighter. I'd redone parts of it with Ivy and Theo's input, new paint, some posters, a fresh vibe untainted by the past. Scout, our golden retriever, trotted into the kitchen. I scratched his ears. No treats before breakfast, pal. Dad, can Scout come to my baseball game this weekend? Theo asked, slinging his backpack over his shoulder. If the field's cool with dogs, sure, I said, closing my laptop. Ready for school? Almost. Did Mom text about Saturday? Yeah, she's excited to see you. Lydia had landed a steady gig at an insurance office. Pay wasn't great, but it covered a small apartment. Theo had started visiting again, but Ivy still wouldn't budge. Cool. I want to show her my science project. The robot hand's gonna blow her mind. Bet it will, I said, checking my watch. Bus comes in 10. Grab your lunch. Theo darted off. Ivy came downstairs, notebook in hand, earbuds around her neck. At 15, she carried herself with a quiet intensity. Ready? I asked. She nodded, tucking the notebook into her bag. Coding clubs today. Might run late. Text me when you're done. I'll pick you up. Actually, Nora's mom said she'd drop me off. We're working on our project together, if that's okay. I smiled. Go for it. Just be home for dinner. Cassandra's coming over. Ivy grinned. I like her. She's sharp. She is, I said, warmth spreading in my chest. Cassandra had become more than a friend over time, smart, kind, someone I respected. She said she'd help with my investigative project, Ivy added, zipping her bag. She knows all the research tricks. She'll love that, I said, handing her a lunch bag. Now get moving. The kids rushed out, Scout trailing them to the door before I called them back. I watched them join the neighborhood kids at the bus stop, Ivy chatting with Nora, Theo goofing off with a friend his age. Normal. Healing. My phone buzzed with a text from Cassandra. Can't wait for tonight. Need me to bring anything? I typed back, just you. Kids are pumped to see you too. I moved through my morning routine in our home, letting Scout out, cleaning up breakfast dishes, prepping for my remote workday. My company had been good about flex time, letting me work from home 3 days a week. My desk was cluttered with family photos and Ivy and Theo's artwork. I fired up my laptop, diving into a new project, building a security system for a big credit union. The challenge kept me sharp, and I liked untangling complex problems. Hours slipped by quietly until my phone buzzed again. A number I hadn't seen in weeks. Need to talk. Important. Call when you can. It was Lydia. She usually stuck to the co-parenting app for kid stuff, so this was odd. I thought about ignoring it but decided to bite. Lydia, I said when she answered. What's the deal? Henry, thanks for calling. Her voice was steadier than before. I got a job offer, a good one. International insurance firm in Denver. I leaned back, processing. When's it start? Next month, if I take it. It's a big pay bump, a real chance to move up. And you're calling because? The kids, she said, softer. I want them to visit me in Denver. Regular trips. I know the custody agreement keeps them here, but I'm asking you to work with me on travel. I mulled it over. Denver meant fewer visits but a cleaner break, distance that might help us all move on. Theo'll be bummed, I said. I know, she replied. But I can fly back sometimes, and they could come to me during school breaks if you're okay with it. Her tone was straight, no games. And Ivy? I don't expect her to want to come, but my door's always open. I nodded, though she couldn't see. I'll think it over, talk to the kids. If they're up for it, I won't block you. Thank you, she said, relief in her voice. I'm trying, Henry, to rebuild, be better. I see that. She'd stayed sober, kept her job, never missed a visit. Small steps, but real. One more thing, she added. I got a letter from Jasper. I was tense. What did he want? To say sorry. He's in Nevada now. That audit was a wake-up call. He's a personal trainer, staying clean. Good for him, I said, flat. He said you were right to do what you did. That we had it coming. She paused. He wasn't wrong. I didn't know what to say to that. Anyway, I just wanted you to know about Denver, she said. I'm trying to make things right, not to get you back, but to be someone the kids might look up to someday. I paused. I hope you pull it off. I meant it, not for her, but for Ivy and Theo, who still carried a piece of her. I'll let you know about the job, she said. Thanks for listening. After the call, I sat, thinking about Lydia in Denver. Space to heal. Maybe that's what we all needed. The day zipped by with work and chores. By dinner, the smell of grilled pork chops filled the house. Ivy got home first, buzzing about her coding project. Theo rolled in next, muddy from baseball practice, grinning like he'd won a prize. The doorbell rang as I set the table. I got it. Theo shouted, racing over with Scout on his heels. Cassandra stepped inside, greeting Theo and the dog with a laugh. She was tall, athletic, with short curly hair and quick eyes, holding a bakery box while fending off Scout's jumps. Easy, pal, she chuckled, patting his head. Cake's for after dinner. You brought cake? Theo's eyes lit up. Chocolate caramel from that place you love. She handed me the box, and I gave her a quick kiss, smiling. Hey, you, I said. Ivy popped into the doorway. You're still helping with my project, right? I've been digging into data analysis. You bet, Cassandra said. I brought some research templates that might help. Dinner was loud and warm, full of chatter about school, work, and weekend plans. The future wasn't set, but it felt wide open.